Console Crusade Podcast, E.J. Olsen, I'm Chris Gilly 4. This has been the Console Crusade Podcast. Thank you, Count Me Down.
New world record! The rare contentless skip glitch. They said it couldn't be done.
Now you're playing with power.
I'm going to meet this guy, but he's only 6 minutes for me, so hopefully it'll be really quick.
I insist you bring your haul back to display for the boys.
I can do it. I think it'll be a good deal. Nothing earth-shattering, mostly for resale.
Still, we could do it in real time. Be like, he literally just got back.
I like it. I'll keep it recording. I'll do it. Let's do it. Okay. I think it's like a high school kid, so hopefully he'll be on time and...
I'll fleece him. Take him to the fucking bank. I got my physical copy of the Prime trilogy for, I think, like $60, maybe less than that. And this is well after that had inflated substantially. This is a post-Wii U world where I'm buying, maybe even a post-Switch world where I'm buying this for $60. And it's this fucking kid, like grandma's there or whatever to make sure, like, you know, it's a Craigslist thing, so everything's safe. And I'm just like, you have no idea what you're selling me for this price, and I'm gonna take it. I'm not giving you 1 red cent over $60.
They sell for between $65 and $70 now. I don't know what it was back then, but
over 100 in those days. It was up there.
I wonder if the Metroid. We could probably check price charting on this. I bet you the Metroid remastered affected the price of that because that is the one that everyone wants to play.
I would assume that is correct.
Okay. Console Crusade Podcast. We're doing it for real. E.J. Olsen with Nick Durheim for real this time.
I wonder if actually the digital release of the Prime trilogy on Wii U devalued the Wii release.
We can find out.
And it was a GameStop exclusive, so it was hard to get before, but I don't know. I don't think Prime did that itself, the remake.
I'm going to find out on price chart. Chris Gilly 4, I'm going to find out for you right now.
Konbanwa.
Officially. PAL Wii, not PAL Wii. Is this the collector's edition? The Steelbook?
Steelbook, plastic slip.
Yeah, that was the only edition, I believe.
No, there was 2, I believe. Maybe not. Maybe not. I think there was a regulator case. $71, complete. Price charting. Yeah, it peaked at like $150, and it looks like it plummeted pretty heavily in March of 2023.
What was it at?
Take that for data.
What was it at prior? First of all, nice reference. Second of all, what was it at prior to March?
134 in March, wow. And then by July it was down to 85, and then it tanked in August all the way down to 75, and now it's at its lowest of 71.
That makes sense.
Yeah, interesting. I love how price charting shows this whole timeline, and you can just track it. I love me some data. Not enough to make algorithms and spreadsheets, but I love me some data.
You just like looking at the funny numbers go up and down.
Mm-hmm. It all makes sense to me. It scratches the inside of my brain. Okay, so this is going to be a weird little episode. Let's lead off with our favorite topic, apparently, from the last couple of weeks, and it comes up every week now, is physical media's death rattle grew even louder this week with the rumored and then soon confirmed news that Best Buy is exiting the physical media space. And at first, we didn't know what that meant. We assumed when they said physical media, they mean all physical media. Turns out, specifically, Blu-ray DVD sales.
Yeah, I initially heard it as Blu-ray DVD, so I don't know. I thought people were just like misinterpreting it as the all physical media. But
yeah, the 4K sub had the rumor like 4 or 5 days early is when I first saw it, and there was no specificity to it. And then they officially confirmed, and in their press release, it was clear what they meant, but people still from there further freaked out. And then they had to release another thing saying, no, video games aren't going anywhere. So
if you've been in a Best Buy in the last couple of years, the video games have already gone somewhere. Like, gone are the days when I could go into the Gresham Station Best Buy and walk through 3 or 4 glorious aisles full of game cases sitting on the shelves, ready for me to examine for purchase. You go to fucking Best Buy these days, there's like 6 display boxes for crappy $20 Switch games, some signs for games that exist and that they do sell. Nothing is on display. Everything is
That's
like pre-ordered and
crazy.
backstocked. There is nothing you could just grab off the shelf. It is all like hidden away in other parts of the store. So I don't think it's that long until they stop doing video games either. And it's just all shipped to home and maybe you could pick it up, but nothing's on the shelf. I mean, I don't even think they have a designated section for software come 2026 or whatever.
Oh God, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I know last week we talked about year over year how physical media, as far as home movies, how that plummeted year after year. I don't know what video game sales have looked like. I know a couple years ago, digital overtook physical as being the predominant way people bought their games. But my Best Buy has like a very long Switch aisle, 2 PlayStation aisles, and an Xbox aisle. All the games are up front now, so you go and take an empty case up front and they, swap it out for you. But my Best Buy has a crap ton, and they still have a physical Blu-ray, several aisles. It has been downsized significantly in the last couple of years to like 1 aisle and then like 4 little teeny cardboard kiosks scattered throughout the store. So it was a coming, but it's crazy how different stores do it so differently. Like Gresham, they remodeled, and I went in there and I was like, what? This is like Sears. And you walked in and it was all just refrigerators and washing machines, and then they were out of business 3 years later. So Best Buy now sells magic bullets and washing machines now.
They've been like that for a long time. They've been like that for the past like 15 or so years.
See, not down here. They got video games. They got movies. They have aisles and aisles of PC hardware. It looks like a freaking micro center down here. It's crazy.
The DVD section in the Gresham Best Buy has downsized a lot. It's been taken over a lot by the phones. The corner section that had the video games has sort of maintained. It's like downsized maybe 1 aisle. Like it used to be 5 and now it's 4. It's always been pretty small in the Gresham one.
That's good. I love those DVD aisles, man. I mean, maybe this speaks to why it's failing financially, but I would walk through and go, oh man, I know that TV show, and oh man, I could get those 3 movies together. Oh, that's a nice steelbook. I'm not buying it though. I mean, I especially in the last 5 years, like I am not lugging around a bunch of stuff unless it is an all timer for me. Like the last time I bought a physical movie or television show, it was when Mulholland Drive hit the Criterion Collection and went on sale, and I was like, I have to have that on my shelf. That is like maybe the only physical film that I've purchased in the last certainly 5 years, maybe more like 7 to 10. I'm not buying them. People aren't buying them. It's just not what you do anymore. You stream.
The 4K and Blu-ray community, I don't think will ever go away. I think bookstores managed to sort of save themselves from the digital revolution, and now it's become like a boutique thing.
Tell that to Borders.
The big companies all went out of business because they couldn't maintain their monstrous profits, but all these little indie shops have flourished in the last 5 years because it's become this extremely boutique thing. I don't know if I mentioned on the podcast, but I recently, Sarah and I decided to fully upgrade our Blu-ray collection to 4K, and I got a proper player. Because we like our physical. I like my special features. The difference in visual quality, especially on an OLED with a decent sound setup, the difference is massive in visual and audio fidelity. I want my shit to look as good as it can. So let me pull up my stats here. We're at over 500 titles in our collection. And mind you, this is a pared down collection. Sometime during the pandemic, we got rid of a lot of stuff. We're only keeping stuff we absolutely love, things we know we're going to want to watch again, things with special features I know I'm going to want to watch. Like, it has to be goated to be on our shelf, or in this instance, our bins under the television. So we're over 500 titles, and now we're in the process of upgrading all those to 4K where it makes sense. So I've been deeply entrenched in the 4K/Blu-ray ecosystem the last couple of months. And so, of course, this happens, and I don't know. It's going to happen. There'll still be companies who do, like, in the gaming space, we've got IM8-Bit, we've got Fangamer, we've got Limited Run, like these companies who are always going to find a way to license these games and put out products that people like the 3 of us sickos are going to want to buy.
Especially if they do like 1,000 copies of a collector's edition that's got some useless cardboard crap and they can triple the price on it. Like that is where they're actually making money. Everything else they can scrape by on margin.
Listen, man, I spent like 100. How much was the master edition of KOTOR? $175 or something.
I don't want to talk about it.
The Pazak set, dude. Chris, when you're in town, we're gonna play some Pazak, brother. It's going down. I love that. You guys have this brain for music where either of you could just bust out humming some obscure video game ditty, just like that. You just
One of my first MP3 players were a lot of the like real big bangers from the KOTOR set, like the Pazak theme, the Auto City. I liked to fall asleep to this stuff. Like I went to sleep to the Pazak theme for many, many months when I was in my initial KOTOR hyperfixation. Man, we gotta replay that game. We gotta play that game again. We gotta pod that game. We gotta reclaim that pod.
And this is podcasting. Do you guys think that MP3 players will ever make a comeback? Since Bluetooth headsets are so bad as far as audio quality, or do you think wireless codec will get to the point where it'll make that irrelevant?
I don't know if there will ever be a wireless codec that truly satisfies audiophiles, but the world of high fidelity audio is so... Did you say high fidelity? I'll go with it. That's funny. The world of high fidelity audio is already so out there that I don't know if that market... You'll never get to sell a mass market on it. Like my parents are never going to need to buy an MP3 player ever again.
I'm thinking less like the boutique audience and more like on the fringe. Like you're collecting 4K Blu-rays. I don't think that's as fringe as vinyl. There are audiophiles who are sickos and freaks, and I can never hold up to that. You know, like I can't hang with y'all. But I also do notice the difference between when I'm listening to a CD in my car, the one CD I have in my car, because I'm not going to change CDs. I'm not going to carry CDs with me. But the one CD I have, I put it in my car because that's my CD player. I notice the audio quality between that and when I'm listening to something over Bluetooth. So if it's noticeable enough to a schmuck like me, will there ever be like a renaissance of like people who want to listen to music in a better quality but are not going to be looking around a CD player? Storage is like dirt cheap and small. I don't know if there's a market for that, if that's something that people would ever want to get back into. Like it's got to be as many people buying 4K Blu-rays as would be interested in a MP3 player, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I have no frame reference for that. But the thing is based on the number of people who are okay streaming a low bitrate, uber compressed film to their TV where they don't even know how to set up their TV properly. They've got auto this and auto that and smoothing and motion interpolation, and they don't know how to set up their HDR properly. So it's you know when you have a non-OLED and you have HDR on and you see the dynamic, like the light panels can't keep up with the scene and it's like flashing at you. It's just like people don't even know how to calibrate simple things on their television. So, and they're okay with, I think streaming is largely just awful unless you have, a more boutique device. An expensive $400 Apple TV does decent with high quality streams from certain sources. But if you're on a Fire Stick or like an Xbox, I mean, it just looks like crap, and people are okay with that. I mean, DVD sales are still, like we talked about, an overwhelming majority of the market. 480p DVD sales. People clearly don't know or care. When it comes to audio, there are several Bluetooth devices that actually have really nice, for Bluetooth, they have some good codecs, and I've got one in my hi-fi setup that I occasionally use, and it's good. Yeah, you have a cheap little device in the car or built-in Bluetooth, that comes stock with a car, and yeah, it's not going to be great. So I don't know. Wasn't there didn't Sony just do in the last year or two, didn't they just do a boutique little MP3 player device that was all supposed to be geared toward, there's like 2 models of it. It was geared toward audiophiles.
I do not keep up with Sony hardware outside of the PlayStation, so I have no idea. I know that their new headset is using proprietary-ish codec wireless stuff. So
here's an article from a year ago. Sony Electronics debuts 2 new premium music players, including new Signature Series Walkman, and they're these. I mean, they're like gold-plated copper chassis with pure materials for a purer sound. Revel in authentic sound reproduction. And they're talking about these codecs that they've they've mastered, and it's all this audiophile jargon. They were also expensive. So
It has to be to justify the dozen people that will buy it.
right. I don't think there's a market for it for casual listener. I mean, your phone will do what it needs to do. And worst case scenario, you plug in on that little port there. And I think we're a ways away from the port disappearing.
Dongle.
Yeah, I use a dongle in my car. I don't use Bluetooth.
That was what my thought here is that I don't think that we're going to see a movement in the other direction. I think that quite the opposite. We're going to see it continue to the general quality of what is the cheapest and most easily accessible for the most amount of people. It's probably going to continue to be mediocre, maybe even get a little bit worse as they find ways to make it more accessible and more widespread. And by and large, people are just like okay with that because wireless, because listening to music on their run, convenience. Yeah, most definitely.
I just wonder about these movie companies. Are they making the vast majority of their dollars in the box office, and they're not really making anything on the after box office release market? Like, are they making more money on streaming? Will that money continue to like sustain? Will people keep dropping those? They keep raising the prices, but is that just an infinite money well? Like Netflix can get away with raising their price 10% ad infinitum.
Here's the top 5 titles of 2022. I don't have to do top 5. The number 1 title, home video, Spider-Man No Way Home, with over 2 million units sold. That generated almost $45 million in profit.
What was the box office on that?
Over a billion.
It was fat.
So yeah, box office is always going to be king, but clearly there's still legs for some of these titles. Top Gun Maverick made 46 million with just under 2 million units sold. I mean, goddamn Clifford the Big Red Dog is in the top 50 here, generating $7 million. You know what I mean? So there's clearly still a market for it, and even though it's getting smaller, I don't think companies are ready to just throw it away. And Best Buy, listen, to be fair, Best Buy had a 4% market share. 4%. That's to Walmart's 40%.
Jeez.
Yeah, I wonder if they're just not competing because they can't hang. How long does Best Buy even stick around then?
I thought Best Buy was going to be gone within 5 years ago. I'm shocked they still exist. I like Best Buy. They got rid of Gamers Club Unlocked. They've pushed all this total BS, whatever, where you pay X amount per year. And they're doing things like this where they're getting rid of the stuff. I mean, 4% market share. I get why they're getting out of it. Walmarts are just everywhere. I don't see a reason for it to exist much longer. I'd be shocked.
Yeah, man.
They'll start selling groceries. They'll be like Target before you know it.
That's probably their best bet to stay in business. I mean, that's why Walmart can sustain.
It won't be long before we're all forced to either retire from video games completely or spend $80 on them digitally. And that's it. It'll be the only option. Something I hadn't even considered. What do these boutique companies do when games systems are no longer sold with optical drives or cartridge slots? They could send you a box full of tchotchkes, which is essentially what they're doing now, but you wouldn't even be able to read a physical game.
They'd have a better margin on that box of tchotchkes than they would on selling you a game as well.
I don't give a fuck about their margins. I care about me and my collection and my friends' collection and their spreadsheets for their collection. That's all I give a shit about. Fuck these companies.
Sure, me too, but also I can't buy those things if the companies aren't making it. And if they're not making it because they're not making money, then that does affect me.
Yeah. It's a dark future we're headed towards.
I think even Nintendo's close to, it's like 2 generations away from not doing physical media anymore. One of the newer pieces of scuttle, take it for whatever you want, is that they're doing the 2 model deal. One of them is entirely digital, and the other one will play physical media, including Switch carts.
Dude, 90% of video games in 2022 are digital. That is insane to me.
How is that a real number?
90% of what? Like, this is the number?
I would say, is that gross or is that units? Does this include PC, mobile?
Yeah, which is why that number means nothing, because there's no context. On a platform by platform basis, typically they split that up based on games that have digital and physical versions. They do by money, like how much the platform holders have made via those games. But I think PlayStation was at like a 70-30 split as far as digital versus physical. maybe 60-40.
Man, that is
Similar for Xbox.
crazy.
And kind of flipped for Nintendo, where it's like 40% of their sales are digital and 60 are physical. So they're still pretty heavily invested with the physical media. A lot of that I think comes down to the shareability of a physical item. Like if you buy your kids a copy of, Mario Kart, they can switch the game back and forth without having to deal with like the weird like backdoor ability to switch your user to different consoles and then play the same game that way. Because this is the thing that everyone agreed upon and never made us think about when digital was first made the norm, was the ability to move the license of the game around. You don't own that game; you're leasing it, like we've always talked about.
Yeah. Well, it's another bad day for sickos who like to collect things.
For you specifically, to be fair, I don't think I've ever bought a new movie physical.
Oh man, I've been on a crusade lately I've been averaging basically a movie a day since I got a proper UHD player, and I've just been burning through, just trying to get through everything under there, just to kind of justify, like, okay, I have them, I'm gonna have watched the best version of this thing. Watch a lot of movies.
What's the best movie you've watched in the last month?
The best movie I watched in the last month. I've been watching some weird stuff in the last month.
Pull up your notes app. Let's see it.
See, I have the CLZ Movies app, and I mark every time I watch something, I mark it as watched, and I rate it. Lots of eights. It's just a lot of really solid movies. I think the highest rating that I have given in the last month is tied between Django Unchained and The Martian, which both got 9s for me. The Martian, a classic. I love that movie. I watch it every year. It's awesome. Django Unchained, I watched for the first time and really enjoyed a Tarantino movie for once. That movie was good.
Not a Pulp Fiction guy, huh?
To be fair, Pulp Fiction is like one of those movies that I've only seen on tech television with commercials and like bits and pieces over the years.
And EJ wouldn't appreciate it at this point because it's been parodied to hell and back. Like, there's no way you could watch it with fresh eyes.
Right.
Yeah. Give it a shot. I mean,
I give it a shot, but
incredibly formative for like an entire decade of cinema, like what he did in Pulp Fiction, and some career best performances from a lot of those actors. I feel like. Have you done Dune yet? I feel like you just said I'm not. Yeah, okay. Well, you've got a UHD player. I will send you my ultra high definition copy because that is another piece of physical media I bought. So I have to correct myself from earlier. I had to get the box set, and the box set from Walmart has the slipcase looks like the Gom Jabbar. I was like, oh man, that's fucking great. I definitely need to own that. Well, I'll send that up to you so you can watch it because you've got all the right equipment.
You can bring it with you when you come out this way, and we'll do a link up. Maybe we can get you and Eugene for a night. We can watch Dune, and I can give you your Sabrina cup, and we can hang out for a night.
Can we double feature it with the Lynch version as well?
Oh Christ, please! Anything but.
I have that in 4K. Also, I bought that a couple years ago. Boy, I remembering a lot of things that I bought in physical media. They're all Dune related. I bought the collector 4K ultra high def box set. We could absolutely watch the David Lynch Dune if you don't mind getting some spoilers for the second half of that film if you're not familiar with the book. No, you got to do it.
I will watch the new one. I will watch the new one because it looks really fascinating, and I like a good sci-fi flick.
You will appreciate it. I'm not going to make you double feature it in all seriousness, but there is a lot that Lynch did really well in that movie in terms of like the world building. Toto did the fucking score for it. It just rips. Like, it's amazing. Toto, just this random ass rock band. Absolutely ripping on this score. But he didn't have final cut. It was a Dino De Laurentiis produced film, which meant that Dino De Laurentiis was going to say,
Dino.
Nope.
Classic Lynch problem. I didn't have the final say.
Well, after this, he never agreed to a studio contract that didn't give him final cut again, and to great effect in things like Blue Velvet, which was his follow-up to that, where he was like, I'm not doing this again. Like, I'm making the movie I want to make, which is fucking great. Certainly with Mulholland Drive, which I still maintain is like one of the most perfect films ever created in its construction and execution. Cinema Crusade podcast when?
Right?
We're there, baby.
I've never watched anything from Lynch that I could fucking stand. But that's a different conversation.
What have you watched?
You should watch Elephant Man.
We watched Eraserhead and Elephant Man in one of my film classes. I had some friends who were so fucking lynch-pilled, and I got to sit through a lot of Twin Peaks back in like 2012, 2013. That's probably all I've seen by Lynch. Haven't liked any of it.
You haven't seen what I would consider like Elephant Man's good, but that's a very like that's the most quote unquote like normal film that he made other than The Straight Story, which is literally about a guy who drove his lawnmower across the country, which is
Dude,
his
I
only,
love Straight Story. That's a good movie.
It's his only Best Director nomination, which is a fucking joke. That's his only Best Director nomination. Yeah, it's a Disney joint. It's on Disney Plus. You sure about that? Fuck you,
It
EJ.
rules.
No, Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive. That is the tits. And we will watch Mulholland Drive together because I also own that in 4K. So we will
You
watch
dog.
Mulholland
Can I
Drive.
watch it on my fucking cell phone?
I
Yeah,
insist you watch it on your cell phone.
Can I watch it on my Analog Pocket via GBA video? Because
Ooh.
that's how I like to consume my media.
Just like Shrek.
Okay, two things. First of all, my Analog Pocket gets here tomorrow. Sorry again, EJ. Second thing, Josh owned, and as far as I know, still owns Shark Tale on GBA video. And
Nice.
he watched that movie so goddamn many times on road trips, would literally just slap it in his GBA, his base form GBA, not even the backlit GBA, throw some headphones in and watch that like, I don't even like 108p. Like, I mean, it's terrible.
Watching Shark Tale by the soft strobe of the street lamps outside the car window every Tuesday for 2 years straight.
The children yearn for the tales.
Analog, that was my good segue. Chris hijacked. It's okay. It happens sometimes. We're professionals here.
Some of us are.
Analog, I know we just ranted and bitched about them. Your pocket's going to show up. Good for you, Chris. I will continue to play my black. I did just sell my white one, though, for $420 on eBay.
Nice.
EJ's like, I wish I could have bought one. Meanwhile, he has two already and sold one for a premium.
I want the sick-ass color, dude.
Just buy a repro shell on AliExpress for $10 in like 3 weeks.
I'm waiting for Boxy Pixel to start making, like, titanium, like, die-cut replacement shells for the pocket, specifically.
Ooh,
Yeah, I do it. I have a few Boxy Pickle products. They're really nice. Boxy Pickle.
Boxy Pickle.
Boxy Pickle. Analog announced last week that they would have something 8 a.m. on the 16th, which is today, the day we're recording, Monday. And everyone speculated it would be something dumb like Neo Geo, or like I joked that it was going to be a Wonder Swan unit or something.
If only.
I hoped it was just going to be an Analog 2, but that would be too soon probably. Dude, give me an Analog with like a GBA form factor, baby. I'll buy 2 of those. This morning, they announced Analog 3D. Welcome to another dimension. 64 bits of pleasure. Long speculated. Analog's foray into the 64-bit generation. For a lot of years, all of the subreddits and all of the forums talked about how it would never happen for a number of reasons that are above my pay grade and I probably couldn't explain. But something about the tech and how impossible it would be to emulate at a hardware level and yada, yada, yada. And here we are. An announcement with details forthcoming, 2024 supposedly. I don't know, man. I'm a big fan of these boutique consoles. I know, Nick, you're not. It's not really up your alley, but
No, it's really cool.
It's cool.
It's just I don't really care. The N64, people are going to be very unhappy when they realize that this is going to be only N64 and not the other game like consoles of that generation. Like, it's
Yup.
not going to be, right? Which, so there's what, 10 games worth playing on that console? Like, what? Who cares? What's the point?
I tend to agree. Like their Super NT, even their NES unit, even though it was wildly overpriced, it was still really important to this sort of niche of the industry. And then they did the Super NT, which was really affordable, like $250, I think. Just a bunch of great features, super well
For what
built,
it does. Yeah.
and the library is extensive. N64, like you said, 10 good games, a couple 100 games, not a couple thousand games. What is the Super Nintendo at?
And this will probably have a more capable like FPGA hardware built into it, so it'll be jailbroken within 6 months or so, and you can play any game console prior to the N64 as well. But I don't know, I could basically already do that with my Analog Pocket, so I don't really see the appeal on this one. Like, yeah, it'll be sought after by some diehards, and they already have like I don't know how much of their order system is dictated by pre-orders as far as how many they produce, but I would assume that they know their demand, or they know conservatively what the demand is. They've obviously undershot that with the Pocket like that. There's no way to know how many of these things will ever sell. Like Nintendo didn't know when they made the NES Mini and then the SNES Mini. Like it's hard to gauge. Like, yeah, you could see a bunch of tweets about how people want it, but that doesn't necessarily translate 1-to-1 to how many units will actually sell.
Right.
So it's tough. I mean, I get it. It's hard to satisfy consumer demands when you're making a product like that. But Analog has missed in the past. So I don't know. I don't know if people actually want this.
This is bad timing because I have stuff I want to say about this, but my alarm just went off. I am going to go pick myself up, among other things, an NES Mini right now. I will hopefully be back within 20 minutes. I am 6 minutes down the street. I'm going to pick it up.
Go, EJ, go!
Hopefully, I'm going to come back and I will unbox this live for you guys.
Do you not have one?
No, I do
He
have
has
one.
one.
I'm just buying stuff mostly to resell, but an NES Mini is among the pile of loot. Filthy reseller. I'll be back very soon.
All right.
Chris and I hold down.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
See you soon.
So you said you're getting your Analog. Do you have Game Boy games that you're gonna play with it? Like, what are you gonna do? What's your first step?
Good question. I'm not 100% sure because I'm still neck deep in Final Fantasy 16 and having a great fucking time, and I don't necessarily want to interrupt the flow that I'm in. I also keep saying, like, I've got Dead Space now, and RE4 has been sitting on my shelf, and it is spooky season, and I'm not playing any spooky stuff yet. And I feel like I need to do that. So that Analog may sit in a box for a little bit of time until I hit a big road trip or travel time, and maybe I'll be playing Team Rocket, Pokemon Team Rocket Edition on my flights to and from Oregon in the winter, and just doing a little light experience. But I don't know what I have here. I don't have a lot of my physical carts here, like, at all.
Yeah, do you have like Fusion and Zero Mission?
I don't think so.
I figured if anything, that would be the thing that you would have, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, I have them. They are in
FF6
boxes. Oh, I have that on
Tactics
SNES.
Advance. You wouldn't do Tactics though, so
I did play Tactics Advance. I own that. I played that to completion. It was great.
really cute game. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that was a moment in time. I think my first or second year of college. I'd bring it to speech and debate tournaments, and when I was in between rounds, I'd just like slam out 2 or 3 battles, and music was really catchy, and like going to Evilise again was fun because this is post 12 that I played it, and I'm like, this is so familiar. I want to say, with regards to this announcement of the Analog 3D, I'm just sort of like, why announce this with no like hardware images, with no more solid specs? Like, why tease with this sort of weird, shadowy, you can kind of see things but not really stuff with the console body and with the controller, which obviously was like really easy to go like lighten up in Photoshop and just take a look at. It's literally just a Switch Pro controller with an indented start button and some C buttons on the side. Like, hooray. I don't know. It just like smacked of the Wii U announcement to me, where I was like, is this the console? Like, this looks weird. Where is the game gonna go? Like, what's that weird little triangle knob on top of this thing? Like, what is that? I don't know what I'm looking at.
No, this is just the Analog playbook. I mean, it's the boutique electronic sort of it's the hits, like you build Mystique. Like, they announced that there would be an announcement last week, and then this week they announced that there would be a reveal next week, and then next week they will announce that this is what it actually looks like, and they'll show renders, and they'll be like, all sexy, and like as you scroll down the thing will rotate, like typical product webpage in the current year. So this is just how they do things, and it's worked for them so far, and it's worked for a lot of boutique electronic gadget companies.
Damn.
Whatever. It is what it is.
What do I know? I've never bought any of them until I impulse bought that Pocket, which will be the most hilarious thing that I own forever, considering EJ didn't get one in his cart. God, that still fucking kills me. And I was like, yeah, all right, I'll buy
that
this.
You don't have a single Game Boy or Game Boy Advance game that you know of in your possession.
I'll get something.
Yeah, so we buy a game after buying this console that literally only plays retro games.
It's fine. It's fine. I wanted an excuse to play this Team Rocket edition anyway, because EJ's so hype on it.
That's fair, and I have. You gave me plenty of excuses to give you shit about it. I told you that you shouldn't get it.
No, it's fine.
Not because it's not nice.
I don't need it. I still don't, but it's going to be great to have it. And I literally can't wait to whip it out of my pocket in December and be like, oh man, look at that colorway. I mean, that is just nice. EJ, what do you think of that colorway? It's a nice colorway. See him mauled, as we like to say.
Yeah, he won't be happy about that.
Nick, what have you been playing?
So last week I was like, okay, it's October now. I want to play some games that are in the vibe. And also I want to play something that's short so that I can beat it before Mario Wonder comes out. And I'm not, scraping at the end of a game right when a game I actually want to play comes out. So I had a couple options. I have, other options I could play. Like I was thinking about playing like BioShock or something like that. That kind of fits the bill. But I was looking through my collection and sort of sorting by, things that are like highly regarded and very short to play. And I decided to play Ghost Trick.
Oh,
so last week I played through Ghost Trick, and man, that is a good ass game.
So you have a physical cart of the new remaster. Did you get that on PlayAsia?
Yup.
Very nice. Damn. So how is that? How does that play?
Did you never play Ghost Trick on DS?
No.
So you should. I've never played the Ace Attorney games, but it gives me Ace Attorney vibes as far as everything I've ever seen about Ace Attorney, like the presentation, the character dialogue, the vibes. And I think it plays really well. It's obvious that this is a port from a DS game. It seems like the mechanics of doing your ghost trickery are like suited for touch controls, but the way they translated it over, I think works just as well, like on a stick and pressing the buttons to do the thing.
Cool.
But yeah, it is a fantastic, visual novel / puzzle game. The puzzles are not really too difficult. There's plenty of ways to get advice from the characters in the game. And everyone is just, the animations in this game are ridiculous. Like I remember seeing the animations back on the DS and thinking that they were like super impressive, and they still are, even though back then it was like 3D models that had been sort of digitized down into sprite work. So for this one, they just have the full digital, like the 3D models of these characters walking around doing their thing. And there's some animations that are just hilarious. Like there's this like total bit character who's like a chief of police, I think, and he's not wearing shoes, and the character's description is man with itchy feet, and his toes are like wiggling, and he's like rubbing his foot up against up and down against his chair, and he's got this like very distinct thick brow, and like he's frowning, and he has a thick mustache, and he's like very bothered and like just rubbing his feet on the chair, and it's hilarious.
Oh man.
And there's just a dozen characters like that. Like one of the other detectives is this total Elvis kind of stand-in or Elvis / Michael Jackson. Like he's dancing everywhere. He's doing like the cool little like head nods. Cool. But like he's so full of himself. And he's hilarious. But yeah, all these characters are great. And I'm not going to talk about the story because I don't want to spoil anything, but it is a really engaging and gripping mystery where each chapter you find something new, but every time you find out something new, you have more questions. And there's some things that they don't answer until the very end. And you're like, I wonder if they're going to answer that. And then they do. And you're like, that is a very cool answer. And you're excited about it every time. Also, best dog in games. Missile is literally the best dog you could possibly have in any video game.
Ooh, that is quite a statement. I'll tell you why it's quite a statement in a second. But I don't want to stop you if you're still mid-flow about stuff you've been playing.
No, I mean, that is like the majority of what I played. I've started another game, but I don't really have enough to sort of talk about for it. Yeah, I started Signalis, and that is a totally different sort of spooky, where it's actually kind of scary. And it's more of like a throwback style to Resident Evil / Silent Hill, like PS1 vibes. But with like a stark sort of Eastern European post-apocalypse cyberpunk vibe. You would dig it on Vibe alone. Some of the musical stings are chef's kiss.
Oh, good to know. Always curating good stuff for me. I appreciate it. I do need to play Ghost Trick. That game just looks like so quirky and up my alley. Like,
yeah, it's peak Capcom handheld.
I'll say no more. I mean, God, that's all the convincing I need. Well, that's great. That's great. I totally get that. Like, get the thing done before the next thing. I am certainly not going to be done with the stuff I'm playing prior to Friday when Spider-Man swings into our lives, but that's fine. I'll just have to start juggling or just back burner Final Fantasy so that I can get through Spidey in a good amount of time to do a pod with EJ and hopefully Drew. Get Droopy on here to talk about Spider-Man 2. This does, of course, presume that EJ is actually going to finish this fucking game in a timely manner. And I know that he really likes Spider-Man, so I'm hopeful for that. But I feel like when we did God of War, right? He's just like, you gotta get God of War. You gotta get God of War because we're going to talk about Ragnarok. And like, I already have it. And I bought that game like a week and a half after it came out and beat it like 3 weeks before EJ did. Was like, dude, like you hurried me into this purchase and I'm glad I got it. I had a great fucking time, but like, brother man, we got to get the content ready.
If I recall correctly, I believe he beat the previous Spider-Man in about a week. And then maybe got the platinum within that time as well. I'm not sure entirely how much the platinum took him, but he's going to platinum this game, obviously. It's one of those games that is like built to be platinumed, so it would make sense for him to do that. I'm not sure what the average like projected playtime is supposed to be. I would imagine it would be similar to the original.
I believe EJ sent me a message earlier saying that early reports are putting it in the like 25 to 30 hour range for a platinum, which means that it does not appear. I think he was looking at some of the trophy lists and it does not appear that there is any new game plus requirements to platinum Spider-Man 2. That is what appears to be true in the early information that's coming out about the game, which fucking fantastic if true, because I've had that rant a couple of times where I'm like, don't gate your goddamn platinum behind a feature that does not meaningfully enrich my experience. Playing through that game twice will not meaningfully enrich or change my experience with that game. Just let me play it once, engage with it as much as I want to, get the plat if possible, and move on. And it looks like that is going to be true. So I'm excited for that. What the fuck have I been playing? Well, Final Fantasy. I'll talk about that.
Yeah, how far would you say you are in,
dude?
Final Fantasy 16?
I don't know. Like, I really thought that I knew what the A plot in this game was, which, like, you never know what the A plot in a Final Fantasy game is from the marketing. Like, never. You never do. But like, silly me, I still was like, oh, okay, we're gonna like Clive's gonna redeem himself and find the person who killed his brother, and spoilers for Final Fantasy 16 ahead, friends, if you haven't got through it yet, but it's him. He killed his brother, except also he didn't because his brother's not dead, and I still don't really know what's up with that, but I have no idea is the short answer. There are 6 mother crystals that are sort of the anchor points for these different kingdoms on this continent of Valisthea that we're existing in. I've destroyed 2 of them, and I am assuming that I will destroy the other 4 by the time this game is over. So I feel like I'm maybe a third of the way through this game. I just destroyed the Drake's Breath crystal. Shortly before that, after destroying the first Mother Crystal, there's a 5-year time skip, which I did not see coming and was a very pleasant surprise, to just like move us along and get us into a new part of this plot. I'm super enjoying this game. I'm really excited when I beat it to have Brandon come on and see what he still remembers about it, to sort of deep dive with me. But it's a very satisfying combat system that is fluid and intuitive and highly customizable to the way that you want to approach any encounter. I am taken by the fact that this game is good not in spite of the writing of its characters and their relative, like, no one in a Final Fantasy game has ever sounded like a human being to me. They've sounded like a JRPG, like, trope machine. Like, all of them. This game has excellently written characters that are excellently well performed, that are genuinely endearing, and it's just really fucking refreshing to be enjoying the plot and characters of a Final Fantasy game and enjoying the overall game because of them and not in spite of them. Which I often feel like some of these games, I'm like, if you could just never talk again, I would enjoy Final Fantasy 12 so much fucking more than I do, having this, like, desert twat boy foisted upon me as the ostensible protagonist. Although I maintain that is an ensemble game. But only because of the cope, because Vaughn is just so goddamn obnoxious, and I have to be able to rationalize liking that game as much as I do in my brain. The world is gorgeous. The ability to fast travel around basically anywhere you need really quickly is great. The side quests they haven't, like, knocked my socks off, but what I've appreciated about them is all of them do a nice job of sketching in corners of either the sort of main group of outlaws that you're a part of or the world at large, and just giving you that much clearer a sense of, like, the way things work on the ground in this world. So, like, instead of just, person number A that's like, hey, go get these herbs for me, which is absolutely a side quest that I did. You go and get them, and then we discover that this person who's in the hideaway now, who's a part of the band of outlaws, that this is work that their parents started before they were killed by the Empire of Sandbreck, and that's why they ended up joining. And it just, like, adds just, like, a little bit of dimension to, like, it feels really lived in. Everybody is in this world and has a clearly, like, fully fleshed out life and set of motivations, and I'm really vibing with that. I'm really vibing with it. And God help them, they knew that they were doing a Game of Thrones ass, dense, War of Kingdoms style story. And so they give you so many ways to make sure that you know what's going on and who is who at any time in this game. During a cutscene, when I'm on the overworld map, I can press and hold the touchpad and it will bring up a menu of active time lore, which is a take on the active time battle system, or active time events in Final Fantasy IX. And it will give me little bubbles with the people, places, and things that are being discussed in case I need to refresh my memory, because there are a lot of, as you said it, proper nouns in this game. And it's so fucking convenient. I'm just like, oh, damn it, Walud, which one is that again? And I was like, active time lore. Oh, yeah, that's the one. They're off in the West. They had this dominant is their sort of like guardian dominant, and they were aggressive with these people. And they also have sort of like somebody in the hideaway who basically can give you a map that you can look at that shows like movements of the kingdoms and their current aggression with each other. You can tab back to any point in time in the game to see the way that has progressed through your playthrough. And it also gives you an alignment chart of all of the major secondary and tertiary characters, their relationships to one another, their allegiances, how those things have changed over time. Like if you are going to build a world that has a lot of lore and history and richness and specificity, I don't know how you do better than what this game is doing in terms of making sure the player can always follow what's going on. It's great. It's great. I would love to see this done by more companies. The active time lore specifically is just a fucking godsend. After a certain amount of time, I'm like, I don't even really need to use this anymore. But in the early going, when you're like, oh shit, you've given me like 3 kingdoms and their monarchs already, I could eye glaze. I can't because I'm sick and I love it, but someone could eye glaze, but they don't have to. They can go, oh yeah, okay, I know who that is. Quick check. Okay, I know who that is. Moving on. I
do agree that more video games should lift the Amazon X-ray for their games.
Yeah.
Like that's 100% what it is.
It's a great reference and accurate.
Every game that I've ever played that's had like a affinity chart where you see characters' relationships to each other, I look at it and I see it's a big old tree of crap I don't need to interact with, and I say, wow, that's great. And I just never look at it ever again. There is no value to be had there for me.
And that's the great thing too, is that you could play this game, if you enjoyed action RPGs, you could play this game and you would never need to engage with that. And you would never have a question as to like the core characters and the way they feel about each other and where their allegiances lie. But if you want to be a total nutcase like me and go, okay, well, those two were this and then they were sleeping together. And also it's still really weird hearing like Amano designs saying fuck all the time and like having sex with each other. Like it is a very strange experience to have a Final Fantasy game where everybody feels really like grounded and human. I'm still not used to hearing the protagonist say fuck, and he says fuck a lot, like all the time. Boss enters the
Clive
second
fucks.
form, Clive goes fuck, and then he's like, I have to call in a freet, and it's anyway. So
How many icons do you have?
I have 3. Well, technically 4, because I had you start with the Blessing of the Phoenix. I have Garuda, I have Rama, and I have Ifrit, which gives you a couple different abilities. Although those map in the same group as Phoenix, so like technically only 3, but 4.
Mechanically 3.
Yeah, exactly. God, yeah. Great system. I'll go full bore on it once I'm done with it, but I'm just having a great time. It feels like coming home, playing a Final Fantasy game again, and it feels like a Final Fantasy game. And that's what I want from a Final Fantasy game is that feeling of that iconography and those, how are they going to iterate on these creature designs and use of common like motifs and musical strains. Like they use the prelude to maybe better effect than any previous Final Fantasy game in terms of how it is integrated to the overall score for this game. And it's gotten me emotional a number of times where they just drop me with that do 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 do. I'm like, oh, why would you do this to me in this moment? I'm not ready for this.
So it sounds like you're going to be playing Final Fantasy 14 before you know it. If you want to get more of the award-winning writing and the musical chops of this composer as well.
No,
That's fair. Listen to the soundtrack though. It is a banger.
I would love to. And that's Nobuo Uematsu, right? They pulled him off of the main lines to do 14, did they not?
No. I think he may have guest composed like single tracks here and there. And they'll always credit him because he created like so many of the recurring themes, but no, there's a different the main sound guy who did 16 did 14 or a lot of 14.
Oh, great.
Since like Heaven's Word. I'm not sure how that role has changed. I know the director of OG 14 is long gone, and that Yoshi P, who directed 16, is basically been in charge of that whole game since Heaven's Word and A Realm Reborn and Heaven's Word and to the future, like writing and directing.
That tracks. It is a gorgeous soundtrack. I saw a like 6 CD box set that was on sale with the full soundtrack, and I was sorely tempted. And I do lug CDs around. I love having my CDs in my car for road trips. It's like, how am I going to curate my mix with my 6 CD changer? It's like, all right, let's start with an album, and then let's get into like a game soundtrack, and then a musical, and then a mixtape, and it's just
You have a 6
better.
CD changer in your smart car?
I sure do.
That's gotta be like half the trunk, right?
It's in the dashboard. It's in dash, a 6 CD changer.
Okay. That's still too many
It's
CDs.
half of the front trunk.
Yeah, that's like a jukebox.
That's good.
maybe not soon, I think. Like by November, we can probably start talking about, that might be too late. In the next couple weeks. God, time is moving so fast. When is Game Awards? That's like December, right? So by beginning of November, I think we could start talking about what we think and doing like predictions and all sorts of crap we can do. But I kind of want to talk about what we think are going to be the 6 games nominated for Game of the Year, including like hopes. And I kind of hope that FF16 gets nominated for Game of the Year solely so it could be part of the Game of the Year medley, because that is the highlight of my year. every year.
It's so good. Oh, you're so right for that, Nick. And I now desperately hope for those feels. I think it's got a good chance. I mean, there's been a lot of really good games out, but I think it's got a good chance. It's a good ass game.
It's got a fair shake, but this has been a year of good ass games. And like, where do you make the cuts? Like some obvious things that I think are great, but are not going to make it based on like genre are stuff like Forza and stuff like Street Fighter 6, widely regarded as fantastic games, but we're talking mass appeal, mass market kind of games.
That will be a fun prediction pod. We should keep that in the ether to make sure that it doesn't slip through the cracks.
For sure. So if you think you're about a third of the way through the game, how many hours have you put into it? Do you have an estimate, or do you know offhand? I think the PS5 tells you if you look at it, don't you?
I would have to check. I'm not 100% sure. I'm level 29 or 30. I don't know what that means. And I haven't done any grinding. If I've gone back for side quest stuff, like rather than taking the closest waypoint stone, I'll often like take whichever one it just auto drops you into if you select it from the world map instead of the area specific map, and I'll just like walk and kill stuff along the way. But I'm not like really going out of my way to grind per se. So I don't really know what that means, but I'll check and get back to you. Oh, the other thing that I did and that we could talk about is that I did a playthrough of Pikmin.
Yo, let's go. Yeah, you played through Pikmin 1 super fast.
I did like two sittings basically. That game for me is it's just like cotton candy, man. It just goes down easy and I eat it really fast, and I probably played it 6 or 7 times total.
Just like cotton candy.
Yeah. That metaphor didn't work. Yeah, I don't know. I like food metaphors, and sometimes they come out half baked. Oh boy. I just added a stress line to Nick's forehead with that one. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I bought the double pack and then bought on sale on Mercari, which you sent to me. Thank you, Nick. Pikmin 3 Deluxe as sort of the kickoff of playing this franchise finally that I've only played the first game of. Yeah, Pikmin 1, what a vibe. Yeah, about 2 sittings. The first sitting got me through about, well, I guess 3 sittings. The first one I only did like 2 days, and it was just like a show Tiffany what's going on kind of thing. Oh my God, EJ's back with his treasure.
He's got a big old tuppy.
I'll keep this quick. I just had a great time. Like 3 sittings. I mean, and I'm really manic about Pikmin 1 when I play it because I've done it so many times that literally it's like if I cannot get 3 parts in a day, at least 3 parts in a day, I am reloading my save and I'm running it again.
You're like EJ with Fire Emblem.
It's always because I fucked something up. It is always my fault. It's like if I don't be a dipshit and manage this well, and it's just such a high for me to like get that last part close to the end of day and just go like, yes, like I knew I could get this in these 4 parts in one day if I really was efficient, and if I did like scouted first and then reloaded, so I kind of had my strat dialed right. And I beat it in a personal best time of 14 days of playtime to have 30 parts and often off the planet with Emperor Bullblack's dead, which is like probably 4 days faster than I've ever done this. I was really determined, and I was pleasantly surprised that like Joey's probably played this game like 15 times. I mean, like he really likes the Pikmin franchise. That is his franchise. I literally have sent him like Pikmin coasters, Pikmin tote bag, like all the My Nintendo reward stuff, because I don't usually see anything for me because I'm a Metroid fan, RIP. But Pikmin are cute. There's a lot of Pikmin merch. I buy Pikmin merch and send it to Joey. Joey averages around 14 days for his usual clears. His best is 12, but it involved some sort of exploitation stuff that he doesn't like love doing most of the time. He just, like me, wants the thrill of slamming out 4 parts in a single day and just feeling like a god. I sent you all this video, but I really thought that I had screwed up. Because I killed Bulblax, I threw way too many Pikmin at him. Really ugly fight. Did not try and strat it at all. Just a sheer numbers game. Because I had like 600 Pikmin going into that day of the final trial. So it's like, whatever, I'll just like throw waves of dudes at him. And I start heading back towards the ship and I get that whistle of it's almost nighttime. And I'm like, oh my God, like I don't know how fast I can get this back over here. And I kind of dinked around and wasted a little time, like knocking the gate down in the back of his arena just because I could. I was like, I wanted like every gate down. I'm the Pikmin god or whatever. And then I was like, fuck, if that is the reason why I have to rerun this day and do this fucking fight again, I'm gonna be so pissed. And it is approaching the ship, and I'm at 4 seconds to go. I'm at 3 seconds to go. I'm at 2 seconds to go. I'm at 1 second, and I'm like, that's it. I'm not going to get it. And they are approaching the circle to load the part when 0 comes up on screen, and they hit the center of the circle, and it pops me to the animation of them putting the piggy bank into the ship. Just fist pumping, yelling like, yes, like that for the PR, no less. Literally at 0 seconds, which I didn't even know you could do. I thought my goose was cooked. But in that last half a second, I snagged the PR, finished my little smash through Pikmin 1. What a vibe that game is. It is beautiful, and it's both like relaxing and harrowing all at once. And the soundtrack is delightful and catchy. And
Garden of Hope.
Oh, yeah.
Loving it.
It's fantastic, and I am eager to play the rest of these games now. EJ, you are back, and you have a bin full of crap, buddy. Take us through it.
I'm sad I didn't get a wax about Analogue and games preservation, but it's nothing we haven't said before. Okay, I just went and met a man, a boy, really. He probably was 17 or 18, driving a sports car that he definitely did not pay for himself. He had sent me a picture of everything in this lot. Funny enough, this was the lone instance in all my years of garage selling where leaving my number has paid off. I left my number with a mother running a sale on her own. And she says, oh my gosh, my boys have all sorts of old crap, but he's not here right now. So leave your name and number and I'll have him text you. And I said, great, I'll just make him an offer, over text, and yeah, it'll all be good. So he hits me up on Sunday or Saturday maybe, and says, hey, you talked to my mom, I have a bunch of game stuff. And he sends me a picture, and it's an NES and a bunch of peripherals and a bunch of games and an NES Mini. And I said, if I were at a garage sale, I would offer you $25 per console, probably $2 per game. What are you looking to get for it? And none of the games were amazing. I'll go through them here in a moment, but nothing amazing. I said, what are you looking for to get for it? He said, $100 for everything. And I was like, okay, with the NES and the Mini, that's a perfectly reasonable deal. Like the NES, I'll flip, for $60. The Mini will sell for $90. Parse out the games. I've doubled up. That's perfectly reasonable business, right? He unfortunately did not have the Mini, so I ended up paying $75 for this lot. Let me show you what I got here, boys. And the thing that's cool is that most of the games come in OEM Nintendo blue clamshells.
Those are tight.
Whoa.
These are very cool.
What game is that, EJ, that you're holding up?
So this is Big Bird's Hide and Speak.
Yo.
Classic. Blades of Steel. Classic.
Yo, actual classic.
3 screws. Boo. We've got one of the Tengen RBI Baseball. That's the one you always find. You never find a Tetris.
Nope.
SNK's Guerrilla War.
Sure.
There you go. A controller, a knockoff Yoki controller for the, or Yoke controller for the NES Mini that he did not include.
Thanks, bud.
Shotgun for the Wii. I think you put your Wiimote in here and the nunchuck in here, and then you blast zombies.
Dude, I played a lot of Big Buck Hunter using a shotgun peripheral on the Wii. That was like the go-to drinking game when I was an undergrad. Carry on.
Ooh, I didn't realize. This is pretty nice. This is Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Hey,
cool. I thought this was just Punch-Out. Nice. I might keep that for the collection. Sesame Street ABC. Mario Duck Hunt, of course, in a generic sleeve. I only have Nintendo OEM sleeves in my collection, but every NES game I have has a Nintendo branded sleeve. Oh, they keep coming, boys. They keep coming. Baseball. This was just the most vanilla-ass basic bitch family. Hogan's Alley.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean,
nice.
Spy versus Spy.
Nice.
Love this art here. Always saw this game and wanted to play it. because I was a huge Mad Magazine fan back in the day. I don't know if this is any good. I don't think it is.
NES game, probably not good.
I think this is an off-brand power supply for the NES, but we've got the NES little, what is the Advantage? The Advantage controller.
Yeah, nice.
That's
Those are cool.
Here's a classic. I already have one of these in my garage.
The Pac-Man?
The Namco plug-and-play with Pac-Man and Dig Dug and probably Galaga on here.
I think they did Galaga.
My computer's making noise. Okay, here, come on, basic bitches. 10-Yard Fight. Ah, yes, here's a movie I just purchased on Prime Big Day Sale. Jaws.
Jaws. Oh, NES Jaws. A terrible game with an awesome end screen.
This time there's no escape. There's more yet, boys. Absolute classic in golf.
Yay.
Dude, golf rips.
That's a
Great
good
fucking
game.
We got Basis Loaded second season. Oh, boys, it's almost over. It's almost over. Game Genie?
Ooh.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
I almost thought this was a Super Nintendo one, but it's not. Again, more chaff here. We've got Top Gun,
Yep.
but more of these blue clamshells. These are great. Spy Hunter.
Honestly, the clamshells are probably worth more than the games.
They literally are. These are about $10 a pop on eBay. Most of these games are $5 to $7. So
I might have to buy some of them clamshells from you, brother.
a very dirty NES, that doesn't look so bad on camera, actually. It'll clean up nicely. It's actually cleaner than the one I bought complete. The one I bought complete had stickers all over it. I had to clean up. But I'll clean it up. Buttons to press. The pin cartridge inside is bent. That's okay. Couple controllers, a zapper, and that's it.
How are the controllers?
Still clicky on this one. D-pad's a little mushy. Buttons are nice and clicky. Better D-pad on the second one. Buttons slightly less clicky. Perfectly reasonable for a bundle.
So you got 1.5 good controllers.
I already have so many controllers, though, that these are all
I
going
know,
out
just
the
for
door.
like selling. Yeah.
These are going out the door. This is a perfectly good bundle right here. This is a perfectly good bundle. I don't think the Tengen cart's worth anything. I think Tengen Tetris is worth a fair amount, but I think that might be it. I can't remember the other Tengen carts off the top of my head.
And nobody knows. Would have been a better bundle with that mini, but what can you do?
Would have been much
Probably
better.
already sold it to someone for like $50.
Maybe. He was cool. I mean, he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And I was like, yeah, no worries. I offered him 60. He's like, would you do 75? And I'm like, yeah, 75 is that sweet spot where I will make 75, 125 bucks, depending on how I parse things out, on 15 minutes of work, not including my drive to meet him. And I will flip that into Spider-Man / Mario this Friday. So
Yeah, buddy.
it's all good. That's how we do it around here. That's how a collector collects in 2023. It was worth it for him to not have to deal with selling it online. And it's worth it for me because I'll make a little profit and everyone's happy.
Nice work.
The sad life of a collector. Sad life for a lot of reasons, really.
I was trying to look up the Tengen games on price charting, but they do not include the Tengen denotation except for Tetris, basically. There's a few other Tengen games, but they don't have the full list as listed.
Tengen Tetris is like what, like 250?
120 loose, about 300 complete.
Ho!
That sounds right. I was watching a video a few months ago where I think somebody bought a Tengen Tetris. It must have been complete because I think he paid $250 for it. Or two.
But yeah, there's like a couple Pac-Mans, Miss Pac-Man, and Indiana Jones. And
Oh,
that's
really?
like the only ones that they show on here.
Indiana Jones, huh?
Yeah, and they're all like 12 to 15, really.
Yeah. No, it definitely will just lot them up at $5 a pop with the NES, and someone will buy it and be happy. Hopefully, I'll test it. I'll test it on one of my untested CRTs in the garage. There are a lot of them, so 2 birds stoned at once sort of deal.
2 birds stoned at once.
We hotboxing, baby.
You smoking them out with those Arbavita dubs?
Good callback, dude. Armavita doobies. Dude, you were texting us in the chat. You're like, I realized that this was not just some grand illustration as to, how hard life was in the country. No, you're actually smorking Armavita doobers. You fucking weirdo. Buy some weed like a real man, dude.
That was a great listen back. Just hearing the discovery in my voice that you were not, in fact, being metaphorical. That you literally rolled up Arbavita droppings and puffed on them. That's amazing.
They went hard, man. They went hard.
That is amazing.
So, Well, before I meander us to the end, anything else that is on the radar? You guys talked about what you've been playing lately. I've played nothing new, just Warzone 2, the bad one. Oh, you know what I've been playing? Very briefly here, gentlemen. The Modern Warfare 3 open beta. Modern Warfare 3. Third Modern Warfare 3.
The third Modern Warfare.
Hasn't there already been a Modern Warfare 3?
It's the third Modern Warfare 3, I think, technically.
No, I think this is the second. There was a Modern Warfare 3 remastered, I think. Or was it only Modern Warfare 2 remastered?
I don't remember. It's very convoluted.
Yes.
Sledgehammer is doing the new Call of Duty game, and they're going to be integrating with Warzone, Warzone 2 has been a fucking nightmare, and I haven't gone full ham in depth on the Warzone 1 pod. We didn't talk about it because I didn't, I wanted that to be positive and fun mostly. Warzone 2 has been a wreck. It started off in a horrible, horrible spot. The developer, I can't remember if that was a Treyarch joint or an Infinity Ward. I think it was Infinity Ward, who used to be like the Call of Duty developer. Like that was who you wanted on your game. Like, oh, it's an Infinity Ward here. It's going to be a good game.
Kind of until Vince left and started Respawn. Then it was Treyarch that kind of was the golden goose.
I had fallen off of Call of Duty by then. Back in the glory days of Modern Warfare 2 and such. But there were a lot of problems with the game that I will not go into now. I eventually will. Hopefully when this integration comes to Warzone, we'll get some of the boys back on to deep dive on Warzone 2 and where it started and how it's evolved over the last year. But it's a dramatically different game now than it was, and it was a dramatically different game from Warzone 1 when it launched. And they did everything in their power to alienate the player base, to turn this into a Tarkov light Battlefield ripoff realism simulator. And Call of Duty is and always has been an arcade shooter, and Warzone took those elements and dialed them to 11, and they completely did away with that in Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2. So Modern Warfare 3 open beta, massive changes to the movement, to the gunplay. It's starting to feel fast and snappy. And as far as forecasting how that's going to come to Warzone, we're really excited because it's going to feel, hopefully, if what they're saying and promising is true, it is going to be a fun arcade shooter again. As far as a multiplayer game goes, players have the most health they've ever had in a Call of Duty multiplayer game in this game, and it completely changes the multiplayer formula. And as a self-professed hater with a capital H, I'm actually having fun playing multiplayer because the higher TTK, you have a little bit more of the ability to actually like outplay somebody with your movement, take engagements strategically instead of just spawn, die, shoot, spawn, die. And I think that's a massive W. So I'm cautiously optimistic that this is going to mean the future of Warzone is bright and I can become sick in the head again.
All they have to do is add sticky grenades and vehicles and it'll be a good game.
As long as I don't have to gas my freaking wave runner in the middle of the ocean during a fight, I'll be happy. That's all I've really been playing. It's fun. It was good. It's good. I will not be buying Modern Warfare 3 because I will not give that company $70 of my hard-earned cash on principle. They need to prove to me that the pudding is not laced with some sort of Bill Cosby-esque drug before I decide to, shill out to them.
Don't worry. In 12 months, it'll all be on Game Pass.
Listen, maybe. But for right now, it's just roofies, and that's all I expect from these pieces of shit. So there's hope. There's hope yet, boys. Listen, Joe Wo's happy. Z Laner's happy. I'm happy.
That's all you need. Your moral compass.
I'm like the old dad, like bunch of mid-20s. Like, listen, Joe Wo's on the other side of 25 now, so he's an old head. Like
basically a
now.
boomer.
But that's what I'm saying. Like we're in the same boat here, even if he's fucking 6 years younger than me.
Different tax brackets, same generation.
That's right, brother.
Joe woke, go Joe broke.
Okay. That's the name of this episode right there.
Arbavita roofies.
Nick, I texted you this right before the podcast. I am in town the 21st through the 26th. You said you're taking a whole day off from Mario on Monday? I love that.
Yeah, I've been bothered by my manager about taking time off. So I was like, well, we don't have our vacation figured out yet. So I can take a day here and there.
Yeah.
And Mondays are kind of like a very available day for me to be taking off. So I'll just take off a Monday.
Nice.
And I'll do it after Mario comes out because I don't know if I'm getting it on Friday because I ordered it through Walmart to get the weird trading cards and see if I get one that I can sell. But
Sure.
besides that, like I just want to play the game, and if I get that on Friday or Saturday or Sunday, then that means I can play it all day on Monday.
That's great. Somewhere between Friday and Monday when you aren't working, you're going to have to squeeze some time in for your boy.
Yeah, for sure. And you talked about Chai Tai, and they are closed on the weekend, which is unfortunate, but I
What?
would love to get them on Monday maybe.
Every weekend they're
Yeah,
closed?
and they're even talking about leaving that place that they're in because it's like everything around it is completely destroyed or burnt out or like
It's
like
terrible.
it looks like it's like a DMZ, you know.
Oh,
Like,
fully.
It's fully, yeah, it's gone bad, but if they go to a new location, then who knows if they're even there right now. So just our luck.
That truly would be. I don't even want to call Monday. We should just drive down just for the bit. Hope they're open, but if they're not, it just adds to the deep Chai Tai lore. Yet another reason.
It is deep, vast.
I will be bringing my PlayStation up with me Saturday. Thankfully, I'll have hopefully Thursday night. I got to see if Video Game Headquarters is doing a midnight release so I can pick both games up on Thursday night. I'll be really stoked if they are. Pick those up Thursday, play all day Friday, and then come up.
You bring in the PS5?
Bring in the PS5. Hauling it up, dude.
Whereabouts does your aunt live? Like, you can tell me off the air, but like, I don't know if you're like west or east or what.
She's on Orient by the Shell station. So about 5 minutes from
East.
my parents' house. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Super close. So
Party.
we'll hang out and we'll eat some grub and we'll play some video games and we'll FaceTime Chris and say, "Wish you were here."
With our arms waving like that.
You damn well better. I want the full wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man treatment on that FaceTime call.
Oh, you'll get it, dude.
I'll go full body. I'll throw my back out for you, Chris.
My man, that is
Chris
dedication.
gonna blow that back out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. See those thumbs?
I'll be digging into Spidey maybe Saturday night, definitely Sunday. I'm going to be gone Thursday, Friday for a recruiting event. And Saturday, I'm leaving at the crack of dawn to get back for one of Bowling Green's premier fall events, the Bourbon and Brew Fest.
Oh, lots of whiskey, lots of cheese.
Lots of whiskey, lots of craft beer, lots of local food trucks.
At the crack of dawn.
Well, I'm
Perfect.
leaving. I'm going to be 5.5 hours away from BG. So that's why I've got to get up so goddamn early because it's a 12. We have like the second tier of tickets that we bought back at the end of the summer. So we get in like an hour early. And I think I went like one tier up even above that from Tiffany. So I've got like double the amount of drink and food tokens that she does. So I do not know if I will be in a state to play Spider-Man 2 after Bourbon and Brewfest. This is my first Bourbon and Brewfest. I'm really excited.
You play FF16 with accessibility options.
Well, okay,
Put in the auto dodge ring and just mash out some goblins.
I know I
Let's
already
go.
talked about it a little bit, but I so appreciate the fact that they're like, if an action game is not for you, here are some things that make it way fucking easier for you. And I'm like, I'm not going to use this
We're
shit.
sorry we made this game this way.
Well, they're trying to meet people where they are, right? And I respect that they anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Elden Ring who?
I was like, I'm never going to use these because I want to like learn how this game works and feel like I'm getting better at this game and how it plays and like getting my loadouts all set for my different icons and stuff. And obviously a single party member experience. You have people who join you, they fight on their own. You don't have any control over them. It's really nice, honestly, to not have to worry about that stuff and just like stay in my lane. And you have a dog, a best boy, Torgal, who is just he's a great video game dog. I'm not going to say he's like the best dog, but he would be in the running for best boy among best boys.
He's an okay boy.
Torgal has three commands that you can use in battles like sick, snarl or something, and heal.
He's basically Atreus is what you're saying.
Well, kind of, sort of, except he literally won't really do anything unless I press one of those three buttons. There is a ring that will automate Torgal's commands. I slapped that fucker on as soon as I got it, and I never looked back, and it's been great. So I'm like, I don't want to have to think about engaging with my left thumb off of the joystick to try to get Torgal to like unify his attacks with me or to heal me a little bit if I'm getting lower. I'm just like, I don't want to think about that. Like, I want to engage in the combat systems of this game that are pertinent to the character that I'm playing and to get really good at those. And I don't want to have to try to get my left hand moving while my right hand is also doing a lot of stuff. And also I need my left hand to be cycling through my icons with L2. And so if I've also got my thumb down here trying to do commands, like it just was like, that was like one button too far for me. And so I've just been great. It's just been great that one of my gear slots is just always the Ring of Timely Assistance, which lets Torgal fight for me. And I'm like, I got no shame about this. This is awesome. Like, this is a wonderful little thing that they set up for you to be able to do.
They needed a context sensitive dog button, just like Square was in God of War.
Yeah, I would have. Yep, would have been great. Go do a thing, companion, boy, dog.
I also want the dog to say, Clive, you're on fire.
It'll pass.
Last thing before we skedaddle. A couple of games came out today. A couple of reviews for games dropped today. Embargoes lifted.
Oh, buddy.
With Fantasy League implications. Quick update. Brennan pulled the absolute, I think, top end of what he could have hoped for in Marvel Spider-Man 2 with 91 critic reviews. It has a 91 top critic average. I had joked that I needed to pull a 95 and I need Mario to pull I can't remember what I said. I need Alan Wake to pull a 65 is what I need. Mario Wonder previews from this week at Target are full of hyperbole, but everyone is saying it is the best Mario game since Mario World. So that's gotta be fucked for me.
That's
but
crazy
cool for
if
us.
true. Amazing if true.
Yeah. So to be fair, there hasn't really been that much Mario since Mario World in the way of 2D Mario platformers. So, it's I guess not that high of a bar. All the best Mario games since World have all been 3D Mario games or like
A Yoshi game.
yeah. So, or like, I guess what would you consider the new or the 3D World? Like what? That's not a 3D Mario game, but it's not a 2D Mario. It's like a 2D Mario game.
Yeah.
At an
it's
angle.
like the skin suit of a 2D Mario game.
Yeah. Great though. I mean, I'll take Super Mario 3D World, the Wii U version, over any Mario game not named Mario 3 or Super Mario World. So that's just
And then
me.
like almost mainline with Maker, but yeah.
Maker's just a delight. Endless Dungeon, fellas, with a middling, as Chris would say, 80. A middling 80 for 10 points with 13 critic reviews. Just the lone 6 really bogging it down because I'm seeing 8s, I'm seeing 9s, I'm seeing 8.5s. The 1.6 is really doing some heavy lifting here on the average.
All I want is another 6, and that would be chef's kiss for me.
That would be bad.
Because it would knock it down another 2 points.
That would be bad. Meanwhile, another 9 or 2 might bump it up 2 points, and then we're in business. So
a 9 would bump it up 1 point.
Okay, how about 2 9s, Nick? What are we talking about?
Less than 2 points. I mean, you need 3 9s to move it up 2 points.
Okay. We'll see.
And nothing else. Like that's just like if you get 2 9s and an 8, like that's gonna balance itself out.
Some piece of shit bitch got on and reviewed Red Dead Redemption again today, and it dropped another point. You bitch. You piece of shit bitch. So I'm at 215. Chris is at 164. Nick is at 166. Brennan's at 131. Soon to be 153 with Spider-Man.
He's well on his way of beating both of your guys' score from last year.
Yeah.
He already has. Hadn't he? We were 125 last year, weren't we, Chris?
You were really 125? Oh
I think that's what it was.
Thought it was higher.
Sounds right. No, it was bad. It was real bad.
We were pretty bad. Nick, of course, has 3 games yet to come out. CSGO or CS2 might still get a score. And you have the Blanc slot to play with. So I'm fucked. Mario is going to drop a 95.
I'm always playing with my Blanc slot.
I like that. Okay. Spider-Man reviews. I don't necessarily want to be in the business of reviewing reviews, but pretty much everyone says it's more Spider-Man. If you like the first one, you're going to like this one probably more. It has the same problems the first game had, and it improves all the things the first one did. It did well. So,
yeah, my main takeaway is better combat. There's still stealth. Take that with whatever you take that with, right?
less stealth, I hear. You mean stealth? You mean there are the forced stealth missions with side characters like Mary Jane and pre-Spider Miles, not sick-ass stealth missions where you're webbing people up into the rafters.
No, yeah, I mean like just walking around.
Forced stealth,
what you want to do as a Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Oh, man, Miles...
Let's
The stealth that Miles is capable of doing with the active cloaking just made those sequences even better than in vanilla Spider-Man, and I cannot even begin to imagine what they're going to do in this game. I'm Miles, like, if I have a choice, I'm playing as Miles. Peter is going to be collecting dust on the shelf for me this whole game.
I totally felt the same way after playing Miles Morales. Miles is still going to be cool as fuck, but remember, Spider-Man is going to have this symbiote.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they're going to be some cool ass powers, so they're going to be a little more equal in terms of what they're able to do now.
Do you think they'll do a similar mechanic of like pressing R1 or pressing L1 to activate like symbiote powers in the similar way that like Miles's like venom strikes, like different venom strikes are activated by pressing L1? Was it L1 or was it R1? I know it doesn't matter. But do you think it'd be similar, right? Like since they have that convention established already?
I imagine it's going to be a little more intertwined with like all of the basic combat. But like, yeah, I mean, you're going to have your activated abilities that do crazy things that Spider-Man should not be doing to poor, mostly innocent people. Street level thugs being absolutely cranium rocked into the cement. So
yeah, just pulverizing their spines,
literally shattering their pelvises into dust.
But he's not killing them.
No, they're just sleepy.
They're just sleepy forever, really. Listen, coma is not, brain death is not death, okay? They're distinctly different.
It is. Yes, it is. If my brain goes before my body, you all have standing instructions to just put a fucking bullet in my head. Do not keep my husk alive for your own edification. Let me die. This is not what I want.
I would never.
Specifically with a gun.
Yes.
Specifically with a gun.
Swiftly.
Make a mess of me, damn it.
Yeah.
I will be that picture of Wesley Snipes with the hat crying.
Oh my god.
Just your lifeless corpse on a table.
Chris, I gotta say, I am worried that you're gonna be a little spideyed out and that is going to color your opinion to this game based on what I understand from all of the reviews I watched today. Spoiler-free reviews, mind you. I'm ready for more Spidey. I feel like you might be a little too close to 50 hours of Spider-Man. Not that you're not going to like this game. I think you will.
No, I don't think so. I mean, we were talking a little bit about stuff we've been playing. Like I did my Pikmin playthrough, which was really nice. And I've been really in the Final Fantasy 16, having a really great time with that game that does so many things really well. I feel like I'm in a good spot. My only concern potentially is that you gobble this game up so fast that I have to play quicker than I would like for us to be able to talk about it.
No. I'll wait. Don't you play the game. As long as it doesn't take you 3 months, I'll be able to bring on Dre and talk to him. We can bring on Drew. I know you want to be here for Drew.
Oh, yes. I absolutely. If you want to do like a first impressions next week, I can definitely put like 5 to 10 hours in.
Yeah,
that's maybe a lot of hours.
I
can put like 3 to 5
about
hours in. To do a
just
first.
Play the game at your leisure, my friend. Enjoy it. If it takes you a month, it takes you a month. I will have this game platinumed in 7 days. So that's just, I'm just going to go. I'm literally going to be sitting at Pamela's doing nothing. I have no work next week. I am just house sitting, doing nothing but playing Spider-Man for 6 days. So, and Mario a little bit, but.
House sitting. Just sitting, though.
Just sitting. Well, she's got this cat and she insists that someone be there. And my schedule
feed
allowed
it
for
occasionally.
It. Well, my brother usually goes over twice a day to feed the cat when someone else isn't available, but she's been calling me to stay there lately. She's like, no. Bubba needs company. Someone needs to be there.
Cats, very well known for needing people to be around.
Exactly.
I get it. I always prefer with our sitters if they can like stay for a little bit rather than just making sure they're not dead and scooping their poop, you know. I just feel like it goes a long way.
The thing is Bubba gets depressed when Pam leaves, so he hides in the fucking garage the whole time. Like, he likes me. When Pam is home and I'm over there, Sarah and I stay the night, he freaking comes over and I feed him and he sits on my lap and he's a sweetheart. He's kind of an old blind bitch, but when Pam's gone, he gets depressed and he literally hides at the topmost point of the garage and just sulks until she gets back. So I'm like, he doesn't need me there. But anyway, I'll be there because I'm not working next week. So I don't get to play on my fancy OLED, but
Bring it with you.
no, come on. I'm not
Think
that
about it.
twisted.
Oh,
Bring that as my
yes,
carry
you
on.
are, big guy.
For
Yes, you are.
Spider-Man, it's guaranteed to be your game of the year. I mean, why would you want to experience it in a subpar way?
I'll play 2 nights of it on the OLED. Well, this was my plan. I will play it first, high fidelity mode, and then my New Game Plus run, I will play it at the like maximum frame rate allowed, which I think it has a 120 hertz version with VRR if you have a TV that supports it. So I was like, I'll just do that for my New Game Plus. Turns out you don't need a New Game Plus run this game to get a platinum like you did the last 2 games. So I know Chris is happy about that, and I know in principle I'm happy about that, but I'm also like, I kind of like
well,
doing
now
the
I don't
New
have
Game
a good
Plus.
reason to play it again. Whoa.
Yeah, but you have all your gear available to you, all your powers, and you play it on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah, but you don't even get a trophy, so what's the point?
Yeah, I won't be doing a New Game Plus run. Maybe next year when the DLC comes out, I'll like do a New Game Plus run and then play the DLC, you know? We'll
DLC
see.
comes out, they change the face actor for one of the characters for no reason.
Stop.
The usual stuff.
I hate it. I hate the new face, man. I can't stand it. Mary Jane's updated face is better. Same actress, but she doesn't look as terrifying anymore. I'll always miss my dorky Pete. Now I get wannabe hot. He doesn't look like Tom Holland to me. Like Tom Holland's an ugly little gremlin. This guy's like hot. I don't know what he looks like, but he's hot.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
The accusations of them trying to make it look more like Tom Holland, I think, are a bit suspect. I don't
Quite
think he really looks
exaggerated.
like Tom Holland. Yeah,
No,
totally. He just looks like a regular ass brunette dude, as opposed to a freako that the OG did.
It's
Yeah.
way more like Tom
Come on.
Holland than he did previously. A lot more like Tom Holland than he did previously.
He went from 1% Tom to 10% Tom, which is 10 times more like Tom Holland, but it's still a tenth.
Like 35, 40.
Guys.
I mean, I get
Oh,
it.
come on. I think the old face looked more like Tom Holland, man.
That's crazy, man. That's
See, you didn't see it in action, dude. You didn't see it in action.
I don't
It-
want
he
to.
was-
It's
It
horrible.
did fit the voice better because Yuri Lowenthal is 50 years old. So
I'm trying to find a good. You need to just watch a YouTube comparison. I'm looking at his screenshots right now. His old face is just better. He looks like Peter Parker, not chiseled like he's had. Like 25-year-old Peter's had a nose job. Are you fucking kidding me?
I played this game 4 times with this face, and I'm mad it's different.
It's just he's uncanny. It doesn't feel right. Not my Peter. Hashtag not my Peter.
He is the uncanny Spider-Man. All right, you know what? Fuck you. It's 10:22. This has been the Console Crusade podcast.
Spider-Man does whatever Spider-Man can. Chris is muted. One more time. Count me down before I die. This is Story of a Girl. Crying down the
I'm moving
hallway.
And tonight would be the night that I would web sling for you.